Hello, everybody. This is your Torador's Extended Warranty, just saying hi, how's it going? I am joined here again for a stream by my lovely co-hosts.
Don't do it, although. I hate it immediately. Alright, go on.
Hello.
That's not enough for the intro.
But danger is understanding that I'm a ginger, and we're still doing this. But this is L coming
Hello.
back again.
I am become VTuber.
Congratulations. We're
Thank
still
you.
working on the last one. Toidle, can you?
I'm too powerful for a VTuber avatar to contain, apparently.
Apparently.
Exactly.
Just exactly how I wanted to be.
Okay.
They tried to give me a government-assigned VTuber avatar, and it did not work.
Y'all don't know
It
this, we've
failed
been
my
at it
side.
for an hour.
Yeah,
So-
we've been fighting with Avies for about an hour. I mean, I bought mine. It was like a while back, and it was like not expensive. So there's gonna be changes made to it, but we're eventually going to get L into something slightly less flirty looking by default.
yeah,
And
yeah, my
more their speed.
boobs are big.
The,
These boobs are big.
the massive tatas, and then we're going to get
Yeah.
Turtle into something eventually as well. We're probably going to toggle Turtle between two different avatars depending on like what the mood she's feeling is. The first one is going to be a snapping turtle. It's going to be a PNG snapping turtle that opens and closes its mouth when it talks, and then the second one is going to be a cute snapping turtle, cute snapping turtle girl
regular
waifu.
turtle.
Yeah, snapping
A regular
turtle waifu. You know, VTuber. I'm
We
gonna
have
get
to
things
we have
made.
to cover both ends of the username. It'll be a cute little duck and then a snapping turtle.
I think that's reasonable. I think that's completely reasonable. Okay. I
So,
think we should start.
all right. So, starting off, one of the subjects that we were deciding that we were going to cover today is actually a post that popped up, and I will actually bring that up on screen right now. And this is a topic that we've all independently talked about, like on our blogs, etc. And it's something that is just I'll read it just so everyone can kind of understand what's going on. It says rules for a reasonable future. One's employment status should not exclude them from eating well and drinking clean water, a home with heating, cooling, and electricity, free healthcare, owning adequate clothing, accessible free internet, public transportation, and education, and living a fulfilled life. Now, um, normally I would start this off because I yap, but the person who kind of like brought this to the attention of the rest of us, we're going to let the turtle start.
I mean, it's kind of the reason probably that this was as irritating as it was is because this is one of those things where the sentiment is very understandable, and you're really just arguing with people about methodology. Like, it's nice. It's a nice thought. Oh yeah, everyone should be happy and healthy and have all of the things that they want, and life should be comfortable, and that would be nice. And it doesn't work. How are you going to make this happen? Like, it's always like, this is what we want, and no one ever thinks about how we're going to make this happen. And what I was basically explaining is, it's a nice sentiment, but there's really only two ways to actually accomplish this, and it's either some nebulous someone else is going to pay for it, or slave labor. That's the two options you got to go with. Like, either you just take the money from somewhere and pay for everything, like out of someone's pocket, which is usually like that's usually what people go with. Like, it's usually we're going to pay for it with tax money, and this is coming from people who don't understand that government spending is paid for by people. People have to pay taxes for governments to be able to spend money. And the kind of people that think this way do not understand that when you say the government should pay for it, what you mean is the people should pay for it, like broad. Or they go just, oh, the billionaires will pay for it. It's like, that's okay. How are you going to accomplish this? Are you going to? This is. I was kind of getting into it with a person and who made this argument that like, oh, just get the billionaires to pay people a living wage. It's like, that's already a loaded thing to say. Like, first of all, what does that mean? Like, a living wage means nothing. It's a meaningless term. It's always been a meaningless term.
Yes.
You can live on very little money in this world. What you want, and by you I mean this person I was talking, was what you want isn't actually like a wage that you can live on. You want a wage that you can get a nice, like, rent a nice home for, pay for like all your living expenses, pay for like your phone, get like internet, get a phone contract, get all of these nice things, and like just have the comfortable life that you want. Have spending money for things like going out to eat every now and again. Like, it's always like they have like a baseline of what they want out of life, and they think like living wage should pay for all of that. And
right. Yeah.
it's like a baseline, but then also like a bunch of like modern like luxuries that we've become very like used to at the moment on top of that, which is like at that point you're not really asking for someone to pay for like you to be able to live. You're asking for someone to pay for you to be able to live and also have a bunch of luxuries. But yeah, living wage already like meaningless, but also like you when you're messing with like people's like wages, like the wages someone else is paying someone else, like as a third party, if you start messing with that, that does not work very well. But I was I was going to like talk about something completely different, and I got really into the weeds here, and
No,
I
you're
forgot
fine.
what I was to say.
You're fine. And for the context of everybody in the audience, before I go, I'm gonna let Elle go. But just for the record, we're not gonna name this person because we've kind of made a decision that, in cases of individuals where they definitely deserve it, yes, we may name drop, just so if they end up coming across our video, they very much understand that they have our
No,
vitriol.
no, we are talking about you.
But
Yeah.
yes, we are
Mitch,
talking about you. But in this
Mitch was
particular
not
case,
involved in the making of this particular discussion.
yeah, but we are going. I'm going to read. I'm going to read the replies that they gave, without actually reading Turtle's actual responses, just because independently, while there would be no context for the replies, you'll kind of have a sentiment understanding of what they're basically saying. And so the reason for this is the fact that we want you to understand the argument that they're making and understand why it's absolutely stupid. So I'm going to read the responses, which will start with the first one that they made, which was, ah, yes, don't get a living wage because you'll end up making narcissistic oligarchs raise prices and somehow make everyone working not work somehow. Fuck off, oligarch addict. The next response. No.
I would like to point out at this point, by the way, that like living wage was at no point a like an actual topic in this conversation.
True.
This person completely just pulled this out of thin air. I don't know how we got here.
Yeah, pretty much. And then you have, no, I'm just making sure everyone knows what trash opinions you have. You managed to think some
Jesus.
basic shit that we need to function in society without being leached off of will leached of all will to live is naive. Wow, they worded that weird. Nobody intelligent does that. Cry harder. And then the final response that I'll read from them is the cake, as it were. Maybe just not letting people massively overprice whatever the fuck they want to and paying people a living wage, which they continue to bring up despite it not being mentioned prior
I
to
feel
now.
like we should add a little bit of context here for that last response. What they're replying to is me saying, explain to me how you're going to get there without the answer being someone else will pay for it or slave labor.
Yes.
That's what I asked of them, and this is what they came back with.
Of course, they
Yes.
will not answer.
Maybe just not letting people massively overprice whatever the fuck they want and paying people a living wage, in addition to having dedicated weekend shifts for those who use that time for family shit to do that, while people who are willing to keep the stuff that needs to function working. Oh my god, this person can't
The
fucking
guy does
English!
not know what commas are. Wow.
You idiots always assume the answer has to be instant communism and that somehow the tragic reality of wage slavery isn't easy to end by making billionaires cough up the money to pay people a living wage. Hell, they'd still be ultra wealthy. It's simple math and sociology, idiot. Okay, so
Bro did not answer.
I'm gonna tirade on this, but before I do, I'm gonna let Elle take a crack at it
Oh, yeah.
because I'm gonna rip this person to shreds.
It's
I
gonna be
have
long.
already taken a crack at this, which we're not going to read because that would be silly and stupid, and also I sound like a pretentious piece of shit in writing.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so one thing I have to say is that about what you previously said was let's be real. If you have a Tumblr account, if you have a phone or laptop or whatever it is, and you have time to spend to look at random posts and rant about them, which this person does regularly on the blog,
So
you
do we.
already have a living wage. You are not struggling. Okay, let's be real. If you did, you wouldn't have time to do this. You wouldn't want to do this. So let's be real, there are people who are struggling in the world. Most of them are not in the West, okay? They are the real victims here. I also want to point out the very funny image where it's everyone. Oh, everyone. Here it is, the Tumblr sweep. Anyway, yeah, the image that started this whole thing is very funny because it's the usual inclusivity thing. In the second one, there's a Jewish person, and in the first one, and in the third one, and in the fourth one, there's a person of color, and then there's a woman with a hijab. Is the perfect, it sounds almost comical, but whatever. I just found it funny. One thing I want to say about this is, the billionaires are going to pay for it, because people say, "Oh my God, Elon Musk has like 10 gazillion billion dollars. Why can't he pay for literally everything?" And it's the usual issue that people don't understand. The net worth is not a pile of money that these people sit on like a dragon. Now, of course, now they
Billionaires
have.
not literally Scrooge McDuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. They actually have a pool of gold where they swim in. No, that's not how it works. And I understand the sentiment. Of course, they have a lot of money. That they don't have that amount. That amount is essentially their for example, uh, what's it? Elon Musk would have Tesla. The value of Tesla is like his own, but it doesn't mean that he has that amount of money. If he did, it would have to stop everything Tesla does, fire all the, I don't know how many people work for Tesla, like tens of millions of people, tens of millions, tens of thousands of people who work for Tesla, or even more. I don't know. Yeah, thank you. Let's get a number. Yeah, holy shit.
134,785 employees globally.
Yeah, he would need to fire all those people out of their jobs. Oh, but now he has the money to pay for a home with heating, cooling, and electricity. Of course. Yeah. In the
Because you
meantime,
would
now.
probably have money to give every person in the world like 10 quid.
Suddenly, now you're all set off. Congratulations. And
You
once,
can buy like 2 ice creams.
aren't you happy? You, person who has 3 jobs and struggles to get by, aren't you happy you received these $10? Right, okay. So, and yet the only answer is sadly like slavery, because if anyone, regardless of employment status, like this image says, had all of this, it means that one person might not be working. This random person, might not want to work because honestly, who does? We would all be happy doing fuck all day, right? But no, we have to work. This person doesn't want to work. But hey, it's not my fault. My unwillingness to get up and find a job does not mean I should be struggling. Yeah, again, like in a perfect world, we can just laze about and do nothing. But if you don't work, it means that one other person in the world has to do double the amount of work to fucking pay for this lazy ass piece of shit. Um, and of course, it's not everyone's case, but it's an inevitable conclusion of what will happen. Aside from the impossibility of this happening in the real world, it generally means that people who work more have to earn the same amount of people who don't, who choose not to. And that's unfair. I mean, it's completely up to you if you just want to work your 9 to 5, never work anything more than that. You know, it's completely fair. But because the rest of the time you want to do nothing, and that's, fine. You do have to understand that it has consequences. The consequence is that you'll have less money. People who work more and actually put a lot of effort in it. It's unfair that you have to work so much, but it's fair that they get more for all the effort they put in. I think that's incredibly logical. It's sad that it has to be this way, maybe, but realistically, it's the only possible option without, again, slave labor. And I'm concluding the argument.
No, you're fine. So we're about to participate in a comprehensive shredding. Um, so we're going to define a couple of terms here, for the sake of everybody in the audience who ends up watching this. So first and foremost, like Turtle said, one of the biggest things is living wage is a meaningless term that has no real definition. And the reason that the term has no real definition, and the reason that the term is made up effectively to attempt to make a emotional argument, is because we're going to take two places in the United States, because broadly speaking, a lot of people in the who are going to see this video are going to be U.S. based probably, but we're going to take Northeast Texas, or a city called Tyler, Texas, and another city in California, Los Angeles. Living wage in Tyler, Texas is going to be, if you're making between $12 and $18 an hour, fundamentally you can survive on $12 to $15 an hour. Or $12 to $18 an hour rather. $18 you'd probably be pretty decently well off, especially if you put money back. And if you made more than $20 to $22 an hour, you would be pretty well set as long as you didn't spend more money than you had, which is a problem that a lot of people in the West, especially in the United States, has. However, in Los Angeles, if you are living there and not in the suburbs or rural areas around Los Angeles, the amount that you would have to make in order to live comfortably, and I'm not even talking like luxury, just semi-comfortable, would be north of like $28 an hour to $35 an hour. Like, the amount of money that it costs to actually live and survive in Los Angeles is absurd, and it's because of policy problems. And like wages there have to be higher, and to the point where people are like, oh no, like, you need to make minimum wage higher. Yeah, let me explain how minimum wage works for those morons of you who may see this. First and foremost, minimum wage is it's a socialist practice, for one, and the only reason it exists in the United States is because it says, hey, you can't pay less than this, which is why the number is set to what it is. Because realistically, even if it's not going to be comfortable, you can technically live off of the minimum wage. It's not going to be fun. It's not going to be comfy. Are you going to struggle, and are you going to be paying for non-name brand things? Abso-fucking-lutely. But guess what? That's how life is. Life is fundamentally unfair. Living wage, specifically, as a term, is intentionally manipulative because it doesn't take into consideration oh, I don't know, 30 plus different things, like how much do cars cost where you live? How much does electricity cost where you live? How much does any and everything cost where you live? Okay, well, what about a person who might live on the better side of town rather than the lower side of town? And are we going to have to pay people based off where they live? Are we going to have to base people based off of what they want to drive or have to drive? There are so many things that you technically can't account for and the government can't control. There is no functional way they can mandate a minimum wage or minimum living wage without actually knowing everything about you and forcing you to live in certain areas so that they only have to pay X amount of money. Again, it's a stupid term, and it's made up by emotional Marxists to try to confuse you and make you think, oh, well, that sounds good. Yeah, lots of things sound good in a perfect world, but broadly speaking, they're not. Because we don't live in a perfect world. Humans are fundamentally imperfect. We can't be perfect. That is one of the biggest flaws with the entirety of this whole thing. Like, I'll bring up the picture in large screen again. It says, eating well and drinking clean water. First of all, drinking clean water, you can get water almost anywhere. You could literally walk into any restaurant in the United States and ask for a cup of water. And most of them will give it to you for free, unless you're in a blue state, and then they're going to charge you for the fucking cup.
Okay.
And then it's like a home with heating, cooling, and electricity. Electricity isn't a right. I'm sorry to tell you this. It's just not. You could live in a mud hut out in the woods, and that is as far as your rights spread. Just because you want something, just because something would make you more comfortable, I'm sorry to tell you this, you're an entitled piece of shit.
I
Yeah.
just want to put this out there. I lived in Finland for a bit, and one winter, our balcony door broke, and we didn't have like proper heating, and it was winter, and we had like an open hole like in a window, and we still like we were. It wasn't nice, but like we lived.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is like, people don't, in the West especially, don't understand how bad the rest of the world has it. Like, the fact is, in Africa, especially Africa, a lot of Middle Eastern countries, some Asian countries, whatnot, they don't have cooling and heating in the same capacity as we do in the West. And even most of Europe doesn't have cooling and heating in the same capacity the United States does, because we have air conditioning, especially in Texas, and heating. In every house in the United States, or every house in the Texas that is built in the United States, and probably many other states broadly speaking, has either heating, cooling, independently, or both. Texas has both. You will never buy a house unless it is bare bones with nothing in it that does not have heating and cooling. That is a fact. But that level of entitlement is coming from the fact that you were born in a country that is a Western nation.
Yeah,
You,
I actually
That's
missed that the
good.
first time I read this, because like the cooling is actually wild. Because
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as
this
well.
is right now is the first time in my life that I own an AC. I've never
it's nice,
never
isn't it?
in my life have I don't know. It's not like a fixed one, so we have to actually wheel it out when it gets hot, and it's a pain in the ass, and we never want to do it. But like, I was fine until then. Like, I've survived many a summer, many a very hot summer
100%.
without AC, and it was just okay. Like, you just make
manage.
do with what you have.
You open the windows.
Yeah,
open
you
the
open the
windows and the air flows.
Open the
Obviously, it's fine.
windows, you get a fan,
Stoßlüften.
box fan.
Sorry,
Yeah,
that's a
because
winter practice. I don't know why.
But
Southern Europe, we have AC units. We always had them. We just never use them because at the end of the day, you open the windows. Yeah, it's gonna be hot as hell, but you get a fan, it's gonna be fine. And honestly, I personally would rather be hotter in the house. But then if I go outside, I don't keel over and die because there's a 10-degree in Celsius. I don't know how much it will be in Fahrenheit of difference between the
Several.
inside and the outside. Literally, that's how you get hill in the summer because it's so cold on the inside, and then you go outside and it's such a jump. So personally, I don't even use it, even though I have it personally. So that's
Yeah,
incredible
I can
to
get away with it.
demand it
I
as a
don't leave the
right.
fucking house.
yeah. But then we have like continue to going on free healthcare. This one's a simple one to kind of explain, and I don't have to get into a large diatribe about this. The reality of free healthcare is the fact that you're demanding that either one, doctors work for free, or their payments get subsidized. And fun fact about the West, broadly speaking: one, Canada has a system where they have both private and free healthcare. Their free healthcare system has been so overwhelmed for so many years that they are now bragging publicly, their media sources, their government, etc., about how much money that they've saved implementing MAID, i.e.,
Fuck's sake.
their public death care, medical assistance in dying, which is something
Look at
that,
how much money we're saving
yeah,
by
look how
just
much
By
telling
money we're
people
killing,
saving
kill
killing
themselves.
people. You know,
Yeah.
it's fucking wild. You know,
No,
and
no,
it
no. We understood from the start that just killing people instead of actually helping them would be cheaper. That was kind of the whole concern about the
Yeah,
system.
100%.
yep.
That is undeniably like cheaper. There's nothing
Yeah,
you
Yeah,
can
it's
add to it.
cheaper to kill people rather than
all
helping
of
them.
us looked at all of us looked at the concept of like state funded medically assisted suicide, and when you're going to use this to save costs on people that you could be helping but it's just expensive to, like,
Yep.
we all know that's what you're going to do, and that's exactly what they're doing.
Yep. And then, like in Canada and in the UK, like and several other
American.
European countries, the fact of the matter is, free healthcare has not actually helped their systems. It's actually hurt their systems. Quality of care from the majority of the individuals I know from both Canada and the UK have effectively told me, and other again and other
It's
European
me, I'm
nations.
the quality source. The
Well, this is
NHS
one of them,
sucks.
yes. Yeah. But it's the quality of
Trust me,
care
I've been
sucks.
working with it for a while. It's terrible.
And
It's so bad. It's actually so bad.
yeah, quality of care sucks. The time frames that you're working with are bad. You know, in Canada specifically, and I've talked to plenty of Canadians about this. The fact of the matter is, like, you may not get seen for like weeks or even months. There are cases of people who have like actually bad issues where they don't get seen for years, and their problems get so substantially worse until the point where the hospital has no choice but to see them. And then, as soon as they will themselves in, it's like, hey, have you considered dying?
Have you
Damn.
now that your issues have gone this bad, like it's going to be really hard to deal with it. Have you considered killing yourself?
Yeah, because the
We'll help you.
systems are so overwhelmed. They can't afford it. Even though they have such high taxes in Canada. I've been to Canada a few times because it's right across the border from where I live right now, although thank God I'm leaving. But the fact of the matter is, they charge a lot in taxes. I mean, there's so much sales tax on literally everything. Everything costs so much more in Canada. Like, their money is effectively worthless. I mean, I go up there and I can basically get to withdraw $200 American out and get 450 plus dollars Canadian. Like, their money is effectively worth nothing, and they still charge as much as they do. Like, their system is failing. Free healthcare doesn't work because the system is perpetually overwhelmed, and doctors have no real incentive. Because if the government controls the health, how much doctors and nurses get paid, they're going to fucking shortcut that or cut that shit short. And doctors are going to be like, well, why the fuck am I on 24/7, 7 days a week, 365, getting paid absolute shit? There are Canadians who frequently come to the United States to get health care because they're like, I know I don't have insurance and I would rather have an ER bill and be better or figure out what's wrong with me sooner than go through the possibility of walking into a hospital and them having asked me if I want to die.
Yeah, like to put it in perspective, like I've had the same like chronic issue for like 8 years or so. Maybe not 8 years, probably like closer to 5 or 6. But my like the experience dealing with the UK's socialized healthcare system is they don't know what they're doing and they don't want to deal with you. They do not want to talk to you. They do not want to see you. They definitely don't want to see you in person. You have to go through like 3 over the phone appointments before someone's willing to see you. This takes weeks. And then the actual doctor that you're seeing is most likely someone from India who with terrible qualifications who
Yeah.
is not going to help you in any way, shape, or form. Like I've had a doctor, like I had to go through like 4 over the phone appointments for someone to go, okay, fine, we'll give you an in-person appointment and a doctor will actually see you. And I met a doctor and she poked me and went, does that hurt? And I went, yes. And she went, well, I don't see what's wrong with this. And then threw me back out on my ass. It took less than 2 minutes. It was actually so bad.
Yeah.
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 I also had an over the phone appointment where I was like, can I just get a referral to a specialist, please? And the doctor was like, oh yeah, sure, just like call in and like ask the nurse at the front desk about it. And I was like, okay, cool. So I called in and asked the nurse at the front desk about it, and she was like, oh, it says here on the note that the doctor left that he said you should ask me about contraception. And I was like,
What?
fucking bitch, what the fuck? How did we even get
Jesus Christ.
it's bad. It's horrible.
I feel like there should be a way in between a system where a single mother of 3 has a brain tumor. There's actually surgery to fix this. Oh, but you'll have to pay to sell both of your kidneys to get it. Oh, you can't do it? I guess you'll have to die. And free healthcare. I think there should be a way in between the two. I think there
I
we can, as a species, we can find a way in between.
we can, and so here's the thing, and this is something that I've advocated for very frequently. So first and foremost, and this is coming from an American, but looking at healthcare systems everywhere else in the world, this is what I've come up with. Fundamentally speaking, every single hospital should have a like system in which they itemize every bill. It should be legally required that every single hospital has to itemize every bill across across the United States, across the West, it doesn't fucking matter. And there should be an average pricing of these things, and you cannot go more than 5 or 10% above this average depending on what costs are like depending on what's so for specifically for the United States, depending on what region you're living in. If it's an average of like I don't know $100 for a procedure, then maybe you can go 5 to 10% above that depending on if you're in California. They do have more money to spend, even though technically speaking their money is worth less because of how expensive everything is. But everything should have a fundamental averaged cost where you are like, this is the averaged cost across the United States, and this is probably about what you can expect to pay. But not just that. We know for a fact, and this is something that I'm not going to get into a diatribe about because otherwise I will not continue tearing this post to shreds.
We're already so far off topic. I'm just
we are.
Yeah,
We are.
we've been 30 minutes over this.
Well, I mean, we are still talking about the whole free
we are
healthcare
solidly
aspect.
in the weeds.
We are. Well, I mean, we're still talking about the free healthcare aspect of it, and
Yeah.
I'll get back to that. But doctors, hospitals, insurance companies, and pharma companies are all in the pocket of one another. And so when people get angry about like insurance companies, what they don't understand is, guess what? The doctor's on the board of directors of the insurance company. He's on the board of directors of the pharma company. He's got investments in the hospital, obviously, and he's a doctor. Do you really think things are stupidly expensive through insurance because the insurance company's greedy? No, because the freaking insurance company still has to pay the hospital. But guess what? If they're all in each other's pockets, things aren't going to be cheap. So all you have to do is break up that fundamental monopoly. Say, hey, if you're a doctor, you can't have investments in all the rest of these. You can't be on the board of all these things. And it's a simple solution. But to kind of just go straight back to the whole free healthcare thing, free healthcare doesn't work. Because, again, you're either demanding slave labor or you're demanding shitty care because everyone's going to be at the hospital all the time, always trying to get in, and no one's going to. And then we're going to get shit like Canada's Maid. So anyways, we're going to go down to the owning adequate clothing. This is a manipulation of language because, again, this is Marxist language. Adequate. Adequate is a weasel word here because owning clothing at all isn't hard. Homeless people have clothing in the United States and in Europe. They manage to find clothing. You know, people throw clothing out in dumps. We have Goodwill in the United States, which literally makes it so you can buy it for like less than $2 or $3 for a t-shirt and some socks. You can get an entire outfit from freaking Goodwill or the Salvation Army for like less than $10. Shoes, socks, shirt, pants, all of it for less than $10. This adequate clothing crap sounds like, oh, I want to buy Gucci. Like, if I'm not touching absolute fucking Arabian silk, like, I'm oppressed.
I feel like the only argument I understand, like sometimes I hear this argument being made, which is to get a job interview in certain jobs, like you have to have a suit, you have to have a tie and stuff and be presentable. So, but if you don't have a job, you can't pay for a suit because suits are expensive, which of course is understandable. Uh, there, by now, unless it's like actually a well-made suit, you can find very cheap suits that will work for any job. And if you, again, of course speaking from a place of privilege, I'll probably find a job and whatever. It's not that big a deal. But just as a parenthesis, but I mean, if you don't have the money right now to get a suit piece, to get a certain job, you can find like any labor kind of work, like anything. I don't know, mechanic and such jobs. I don't think a mechanic is going to look at you and say, "Oh my God, why didn't you come to the job interview with a suit and tie?" I think that if you come to the interview with a suit and tie, you're not gonna get hired,
Probably not.
realistically. So
Yeah, that's the
find
reading
yourself.
room kind of thing, right?
Yeah, exactly. You don't have to start from a job that requires a suit to get the interview. Like there are by now, I think there are so many jobs that don't require you to wear a suit. It's gonna be fine.
Yeah,
Um,
I think when people are like, "Oh, I need a suit to get a job," like what you're trying to get into is office work. You're trying to do office work. There's loads of jobs where they will hire. Like, I've do you know how much time I've spent like in job hunting? There's jobs they will without questions, like no questions asked, like if you can speak, like if you can chain two words together coherently and you can like hold the tool set the job requires without immediately injuring yourself or someone else, they will hire you. They don't give a shit what you're wearing. They will just hire you to do like the kind of stuff a trained monkey can do that is probably not fun and likely exhausting. It will not be office work, but like you can go and do it. Like you can go work for McDonald's or something.
Yeah.
You
yeah,
can
you
go
can.
stack shelves somewhere. You don't need to wear a suit and a tie to those kind of job interviews. But that's not the jobs that they want. What they want is a cushy office job where they get to sit at a desk in an air-conditioned office and just type on a keyboard and do basically nothing all day.
Yeah,
That's what they want.
Ironically, I would rather be a mechanic than having to sit like 9 hours or whatever, 6 hours a day, 7 hours a day in front of a computer. Definitely would prefer the mechanic. By the
well,
way.
like, well, here's the thing. This is the kicker, though. It boils down to what I was basically saying towards the beginning of this whole thing. It's sheer entitlement. It's entitlement. It's greed. It's privilege. And it's funny that these are the people who constantly bitch about the thing. Oh well, you're just privileged. It's like no, you're privileged. And not only are you privileged, you're so privileged and entitled, you don't understand what the rest of the world lives like. And you think just because you have a standard of living that you want to live in does not mean that you have to live in that. Which kind of like gets into this next one of like accessible free internet, public transportation, and education. So Mom Donnie, mayor of New York City, can't even get the freaking to get everything free there, despite the fact that he promised it, because communists lie. Wow, imagine that. But the
To be
fact of the
fair,
matter,
all politicians do.
well, yeah,
We're gonna be honest.
most all politicians lie. just broadly speaking, Mom Donnie lies about pretty much everything. I mean, communists lie about basically everything. There is no truth to what they say. They are snakes. But but that's beside the point. So, free internet, again, you're asking for a service that requires labor to keep functioning and a decent amount of money to keep functioning. But here's the thing that a lot of communists don't understand because they're too stupid to understand because they're basically fucking adult toddlers. Thank you for that one, Turtle.
You're welcome.
Yeah, they're basically adult toddlers. And the reason is because things require labor to exist. Not only do they require labor to exist, but also if you get rid of incentive, you stop innovation cold. Communism is about stagnation, it's not about progress. The lie that they sell you is that it's about progress when it's about stagnation. Because at the end of the day, real actual communists, like people who are invested in communism, know exactly what it does, which is it takes the 0.01%, turns them into the ultra wealthy and ultra powerful, and then takes the 99.99% and forces them all into the very lowest of status and stature. Because if they have enough things that they don't share, well, that's not equal. But don't worry, they're allowed to be more equal than you are because they are the people. They are the state. And that's this whole, like, accessible, free everything. You don't understand how much labor goes into making infrastructure work. And it's a lot of money. And to go back to the whole, like, I'm not even going to cover this living a fulfilled life because even people living out in the woods can live a fulfilled life. If they really want to feel fulfilled, they will. So I'm not going to even get into that. But this whole, like, to kind of, sorry, go back into the whole, like, thing that Turtle was talking about earlier. Billionaires don't actually have billions of dollars. Contrary to popular belief, that money is fundamentally non-existent until lots of different things take place. Because that money, according to what everybody thinks, is like, oh, they've got billions of dollars, like, they're so rich. No, they might have several million in banks, maybe, but everything else is investments and is in net assets, which is to say that they have, it's like, oh, well, he has a yacht. Well, congratulations, that yacht is worth X amount of money, therefore that's part of his net worth. It's like, oh, well, he has a car. That's also part of his net worth. He has a house or multiple houses.
I think it's much easier to understand if you think of it as millionaires. There's many, many, many more millionaires in the world than you think.
Yes.
If you're looking at it as net worth, because all it takes for you to be like, if you look at, like, if I show you, like, a person who's a millionaire, like, net worth of, like, 1 million and change, like, that is a person that probably lives, like, a slightly above, like, just middle-class lifestyle.
Yeah.
Like, what that person has is they have, like, maybe like a 3-4 bedroom house that they own in a nice area, and that
pretty much
just already makes up most of their net worth.
Yeah, most people in the middle class are functionally function millionaires because their assets, as well as what they make, as well and any potential investments, all of that makes up, and I quote, what is net worth? And to kind of, like, quote Turtle from earlier, if Elon Musk's entire net worth were to be liquidated across, like, even if you're not counting the globe, even if you're counting just the West, congratulations. You may get, $20, $30 or $20, $30, maybe $100, because that wealth has to be spread amongst tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of people, because there are 3 billion people on the freaking planet. 3.5 or 3.8, I don't remember which of the two.
The West.
Not on the planet.
Yeah, on the freaking planet.
Decidedly not on the planet.
But in the West specifically, Like if you were to just distribute that wealth, congratulations, you have an extra $100 or $200. Oh well, I would love that
One
money.
time as well.
Yeah, but guess what? If that
One-time payment.
money came into, yeah, it would be a one-time payment, and then every single job that Elon Musk has ever given to somebody would cease to exist. Tesla, as a company, would cease to exist. Every single one of the employees that he has
SpaceX.
would no longer have a job because he would sell all of his stocks and it would crash the entirety of the stock market in the process, which would mean that many companies would start firing people and liquidating one billionaire with a B, billionaire, of all of their assets and wealth. According to what numbers on a piece of paper say, you would bankrupt millions of people and literally crash the entire country's economy. Congratulations, you want mass death.
Yeah, we're not going to Mars. We're not going to Mars if we have to liquidate SpaceX, Elon Musk's money. I want to go to Mars. Please
I would,
don't.
I would, I would rather go to Mars and Elon Musk than not have Elon Musk and everyone get like 20 quid.
Yeah, pretty
Yeah,
much.
what the fuck am I going to do with 20 quid? Oh, good job. I'm going to an all you can
I'll
eat
buy like,
sushi.
yeah, I'll buy like 3 boxes of cookie dough ice cream and
Yeah,
some.
it's fine. I'll just go
Oh,
to a
that's really
Chinese
fair.
buffet restaurant where there's a bunch of Mexicans working in the back and all the Chinese staff is out front. And I'll go to a buffet one time. That's exactly what'll happen. Woo. I got to
That's
go to a
definitely
Chinese
worth.
restaurant. But
That's definitely
anyways,
worth more than 100,000 people losing their job. You're
all right.
right.
Yep, totally worth it. You know, totally worth it to get rid of a billionaire, get rid of all of their stock and their assets and whatnot, and basically say, no, you have to live like everyone else at the very bottom of the barrel while not acknowledging the fact that people in the West live exceedingly comfortable lifestyles compared to people in the East, like
Yeah,
freaking
100%.
East Asian countries, Middle Eastern countries, and African countries, and even South American countries in some capacities. So, like, there's that. But anyways, the next topic we're going to kick off with L, actually, because
Oh,
it was something that L wanted to talk about, which is a prospect which I will lay out and then I will let them cover it first. Um,
yeah.
and the prospect is basically this. It's when you're talking to someone and you're trying to make them understand what you are telling them because you agree with them on a fundamental level, even if you don't necessarily agree with the methodology or the process in which they got to where they are, and you're like, look, I agree with you, but these are the things that you should also look at. And they're like, no, no, absolutely not. My kid is my papa. No, kid is my papa. And then they can't. They can't sit there and actually listen to what you're saying because you're not allowed to be correct because you don't agree with them 100%. And
Exactly.
yeah, go ahead, El.
I'll set the scene very quickly because I understand we've been talking for a long time. Essentially, it's more fandom discourse and general etiquette and how I live it. So, I am. I have been in several fandoms, as most girls in the West have during their lives, and something that is reflected from also my political views is I believe people should be allowed to do whatever they want with their passions, with their several interests, um, as long as they don't impose their own headcanons, their own beliefs and whatever on other people. I think it's basically my way of life in general, so that makes sense. So I came across a person who, on Tumblr, of course, everything is on Tumblr,
We live
who
here.
exactly, it's our home, who was venting, okay, because they kept seeing and understandable, to vent. It's a completely fair process because they completely continued seeing people in their fandom. I think it was, yeah, Star Trek, portray Kirk as gay. All right, I understand. Like, I mean, Spock is one of the OG ships in the fandom. It's understandable that a lot of people ship it, but you are completely in your right to not do so and actually think it's a bad take, a bad act canon, because Kirk is always portrayed as this womanizer or something. Okay, so it's understandable. So it's okay, you know, to vent. The issue I had is then the leap of you can't do that, right? It's I don't like this thing, so you can't do that. And because people are imposing on me this thing that these people are gay and I don't like it, so then I will do the same thing and say, no, you also can't do that. And you know, so in general, my comment one was, why can't everyone, y'all, I used y'all and I then had to specify that I didn't mean her in particular, whatever. Why can't everyone just let people enjoy things the way they like them, whether you stick with canon, which is Kirk is a straight dude, or whether you want to make your own ad canons. Like, let people do whatever they want. You can always block people you don't agree with. It's usually what I do. I think there was a massive misunderstanding by my use of y'all, because she took it very personally. She thought I was talking against her. So I then clarified, said, "Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. The you. I understand the miscommunication here. When I said you, I wasn't talking about you personally. It's like a y'all. It's a general call for everyone to let people do what they want." I then explained that I was in a lot of fandoms, and mostly for the most part, I've always been in her position, in which I was in fandoms where the main ship was generally a gay ship between the two main characters, which I didn't personally share, and it was kind of exhausting seeing it over and over again. But you know, they never said, "Oh my God, you can't say this character is straight." I mean, it basically never happened. I don't think I remember it ever happening. But I understand. Like I said, I understood her point of view, that I was in fandom. But you know, I can also see the other point of view, because I am in a fandom in which I, for once, ship the main fandom ship, and so like to see them, you know, whatever. And I actually get a lot more hate for doing that from people like this, who said, no, you have to stick to canon, than I ever did when I did stick to canon. So that's what I tried to make her understand. But by then, the issue was she totally thought that I don't know what she thought, honestly, because I tried to explain myself several times. I even tried to clarify what the misunderstanding was, that I wasn't attacking her, that I actually agreed with her main original point, because her point was, don't force your belief onto me and say, yeah, you know, I agree with you. You shouldn't, no one should force their opinions on you. But by then, she had completely decided that I was, I don't know, a demon or something. I don't know.
Persona non grata.
Yeah, exactly. So she, in the last reply, she said something like, "Look, everyone, this is an example of someone who, I don't know." It was incredibly condescending towards me. Tried to paint me in the worst light possible. So at the end of the day, yeah, because I tried to, you know, to understand her, but make her understand that we're on the same side, and she took that as me either backtracking, or I don't know, but she definitely blamed me for trying to find common ground. So in the last reply, I said that trying to understand each other and not attack each other directly should never something that should be attacked or mocked. It should be the standard. That I tried more than once to explain myself. She never tried to understand that, and that's it. I closed the conversation there because it was absolutely impossible to continue. It's not about fandom, even though we could have a conversation about that. It's about trying, if you can, not to see the person you are talking to as an enemy, because you're going to die alone. No, just kidding, but kinda. If
Alone.
everyone is an enemy, you'll never be safe. So you'll always be ready. You'll always think that people are against you. Well, instead, what we should try is find common ground, try to understand each other's point of view. I talked for 5 minutes, so now I'll let you guys say your opinions, I guess.
Turtle, you're next.
Oh dear. I don't think this is unique to fandom culture. I think that's a modern internet culture thing. It's very much this hug box culture, I believe, where people are so allergic to ever being told that they're wrong. Like, uh, it's kind of weirdly it I think like can be traced back to safe space culture. You're trying to build a safe space, like with everything you do. You only surround yourself with quote unquote safe people. You only talk about safe things. You only do safe things. You only like engage with safe media. And what it basically ends up with, what you end up with are these people that are deeply, deeply allergic to any kind of pushback, like in any way. And it kind of has like I think the opposite intended effect from like the original point, which is one, the people that do it are the weakest people you will ever encounter in your life. Actual pathetic, flimsy chewing gum people. It's terrible. You cannot speak to them. You cannot disagree with them on anything. You can't challenge them in any way, or they're just going to fold like wet tissue paper. But also, like, they're some of the most anxious, like, on edge people you will ever meet because, in like this trying to build like their safe space and making sure everyone they interact with is pure. Like they're just constantly on the lookout for any kind of like thought crime from people. So like the moment that you voiced any disagreement in the conversation, you've marked yourself out as the enemy, trademark.
Yeah.
And there is no coming back from that because you are now not a safe person, and they can't trust you. So you're outside of their little hug box, and they need to fight you at all costs because you're an evil, unsafe person. And it's just like it's very weird how this happened. Like these people, like kind of disturb me a little bit. Like how have we done this? How have we made these tissue people? What the fuck?
I can actually kind of explain that. So from a broad Western brush, and it's been particularly bad obviously in the West. Um, this is something that I consistently harp on and I talk about, and everybody's like, no, no, it's not quite that. No, no, it is. It always fucking comes back to Marxism. Like, I know that that's a very broad topic, but the unfortunate reality is it comes back to Marxism. Because consider, like, where we've come over the past several years. You know, once upon a time, at least in the United States, we had classes in school that taught you, auto shop class. We had home ec. They taught you how to write checks. They taught you a little bit about taxes. They taught you how to change your own oil, do, minimum amount of car work so you can, be self-sufficient. But if you notice, around the same time that Barack Obama got into office and several parties in Europe when that got elected, you started to see a stark fall off of like classes that teach you about things that actually matter. And they started to go into this whole thing, which a lot of people saw it start to happen in the 2000s, which is called PC culture, or politically correct culture, which is hey, don't be mean, don't be an asshole. It's easy to be a good person and to not be mean to people. And it's like, okay, sure, but I should be able to say whatever I want to. If I suffer consequences for it, fine, but stop telling me what I can and can't say. The unfortunate reality of what happened because of that movement, which again was a Marxist movement on a microcosm scale, was the fact that we have now generated an entire group of the generation and a half to 2+ generations of people where they cannot face any form of adversity whatsoever, because if they do, their entire personhood literally falls apart. It's like, oh, if you disagree with me that XYZ character is gay, then my entire personality ceases to exist, and you think I should be murdered and genocided with anyone who thinks even remotely like me. And you just sit there and you're like, what?
What?
Did I say that?
What? I did. No one said that. What are you talking about?
You
And
made this up. This
yeah,
is a
it's
new
like
sentence.
they literally make like a straw man about it because they cannot handle being somebody who is seen as incorrect. They cannot handle anyone telling them that their idea or prospect of what they are looking at is bad. And it also kind of goes into this like small little diatribe that I'll kind of like touch on a little bit, which is that people don't understand what it means to be friends with people anymore. Like legitimately. My friends always used to love having me around because if they ever decided that they wanted to do something that was really fucking stupid, I would tell them not to do it. And I would be the guy who was like, hey guys, that might not be such a great idea. They did not need a hug box. They did not need me to literally agree with them about everything. They did not need me to tell them all of the things that they were and were not allowed to do, because fundamentally they knew if I thought something was going to be damaging to them or to the group or to like another person, I would say, hey, yeah, probably not a great idea. I
Guys,
was
I
the
don't think you
voice.
should take a bath with the toaster.
Yeah,
I can
don't.
see this going badly.
I can see this go. You're not going to turn into Magneto. You're not going to turn into the Electric Man. You're not going to
No,
get
no,
bit
I
by a
just need
magical electric
one more
eel.
spider bite me.
It just need one more
Just
spray.
one more.
It's like, dude, your arm's gonna fall off. One more bite, man. One more bite, man. But like, and that's the thing. Friends are honest with you if they're real friends. And we've come across this weird culture where the only way to be a real friend, according to these pussies, is the best way to put it, they're fucking pansies, is literally agreeing with them about everything, never detracting from them against everything unless it's, you know, the more progressive view, as it were. And it's like, no, that's not how people function in the real world. And they cannot handle any form of adversity whatsoever. Like, I remember talking like anime is a great example of this actually, because like Turtle said, it's not strictly about fandom, but this is a phenomenal example of it. You have people who they see characters like Bridget from Guilty Gear, and they're like, Bridget is a transsexual because they are raised as a woman and therefore they are a woman. And prior to one of the artists, not the creator, an artist, coming out and saying, oh yeah, Bridget's trans. And I'm like, you don't understand why that's a stupid prospect. And the reason is because Bridget was forced, i.e., forced to be dress like a girl and act like a girl growing up so they wouldn't die. And that's the argument you're going to make, is that being coerced into being trans is actually makes a person trans? Grooming
I don't think that's not
is
the only character.
grooming? Yeah, well, it's not. It is far from the only one, but it's a great example because you have all these Twitter freaks, these people on Tumblr, these people on Reddit, who, if you tell them that Bridget's not trans, their entire identity shatters into pieces, and it's like, at this point, you're not even wet tissue paper. You are a small mist that if someone moves slightly to the right, you get blown to
He's just
pieces, you
dissipate.
know? You just dissipate
It's
into the fucking
it's
air.
kind of funny because you were starting like down that thought process, and I was trying to remember like I was thinking of like, wasn't there a character who people are saying is trans, but like they're literally like they've been forced to act as the opposite gender by like some outside
Mulan.
influence. Uh, Mulan is completely like is a completely different case because she's pretending to be a man to get a certain like
Yeah, to protect her
get
father,
to a
you know?
Yeah, to get to an end goal, like she wants to join the army, but only men are allowed to join the army, so she literally dresses up as a man. She's not actually, like, trying to become a man, she's just pretending to be one for this one express purpose. But I was saying, like, oh, there's this one character from this one thing where it's like, who's like really like actually trying to become the opposite gender because they were forced into it by like
Yeah,
like
otherwise they
Hungarian
die.
parents or something like that. And I was trying to think like what was the character? Where is this from? And I couldn't think of it. And then you said Guilty Gear and described the exact same character, but I was thinking of someone completely different, and I just can't think of.
How many
there's
characters
a-
go through the same thing?
It's not
There-
like
it's-
it's not like a trope. Like it's not that common, but there's several of them.
Yeah,
There's
I
multiple.
mean,
I
there
swear
are a
that it
few.
happened twice, right?
Well, so there are a few characters that have had
twice, yeah.
similar things happen. So Bridget from Guilty Gear is a case where it was considered bad luck to have twins, and especially twins of the opposite sex. So Bridget was basically raised as a boy because, or as a as a girl because, or no, it was I think twins of the same sex. I don't remember the specifics, but all I know is that basically Bridget would have been killed had they been raised as an actual boy, the way that they were supposed to. And so there's that. Then you have like Nagato, or it's not Nagato. Nagisa, I think their name is, if I remember correctly, but I'm probably wrong because I
Oh,
didn't
you're
play
thinking
Persona.
Assassination Classroom.
No, well, Nagisa is from Assassination Classroom, but Nagisa was always a boy. No, so
Yeah.
the detective from the Persona franchise that was literally like dressed like a male detective, and it's like, oh, by the way, it's like I'm gonna act masculine because detectives only get taken seriously if they're men, and that entire bit was a commentary on like how women who might be detectives are not taken
Sexism.
seriously. Yeah, it's literally a fucking commentary on sexism, and you turn it into like a trans thing, and it's like, but again, to kind of like get off the whole thing, it's just people don't really understand that their entire personality doesn't have to be wrapped and mirrored by literally everything around them. Which, funny fact, I did a video about this yesterday. But to kind of not get into it, it's just when you agree with somebody, like canon is fine. Canon is fine, headcanon is fine, but like Elle said earlier, don't force your headcanon into spaces with only canon, or force your like headcanon onto other people, because at the end of the day your headcanon is just what you want to believe. And the broader point being, if somebody agrees with you, you don't necessarily need to deperson them in any capacity. Just listen to what they're saying, understand the nuances of what they're trying to get at, address the arguments of what they're saying, rather than just like freaking out and like throwing a toddler style temper tantrum. The video has a lot of similarities with all the topics we're talking about, is people not acting like fucking toddlers.
I think my hot take here is I think it's healthy for people for sometimes like one of your friends every now and again should have an absolute dog shit take. And
Oh,
you
yeah.
just
Oh,
need
we
to
always
live with
do.
that. I think it's
Every single
very
day.
like if your friends never have a bad take, you don't have friends. You've curated a group of yes men.
Yes,
Every
exactly.
now and again, your friend needs to have, like, one of your friends needs to have the worst take you've ever heard out of a human being, and you just need to kind of figure out how to deal with
Accept
it.
that they're kind of stupid in this
Yeah,
department. and that's fine.
sometimes people are fucking retarded,
So what
And you know what? That's fine.
well,
and it's okay.
yeah, what we're learning here is, you need to have that one friend you keep away from all the rest of your friends, and he's like a white supremacist
It's
or
me,
something
I am
like
that
that.
friend.
You just keep away from everyone, and it has to be like a white supremacist, so you can get all of the worst takes in the fucking world. And your entire shtick is you tell them that they're stupid, and then talk about anything other than politics.
Shut
All
the
right.
fuck up. We're not doing that. Now get on Deadlock.
Now get on deadlock. So finally, our last topic, which both of these people are very happy to talk about, and I will
Yeah.
yap significantly less about this because I don't have much to add to this. It's the post that I've made. It's called "Holy Shit, Trump Sweep."
Whee!
Sweep! It's let context be known. We may be quickly investing in modular nuclear reactors. Trump admin win. Don't care if you love him or hate him. This is a fucking win, and this will bring energy costs down. And I will actually click on Discord so y'all can see this. And basically, it's this. And it is a video by Kyle Hill. Kyle Hill is a science YouTuber who does a lot of general good things, and he has been strongly advocating for pro-nuclear because a lot of the fears that people have about nuclear is very much based on emotion and not actual scientific fact. And one of the broader things that he talked about was that some of the policies that have been used to regulate nuclear are going to be utterly fucked off into
Yeah.
nothingness because they're not scientific. But
I'm
anyways, I'll let
so
these
happy.
two go on.
Yeah, you wanna go ahead?
I mean, I didn't watch the video, so
Okay, no,
I'm just here
then
to
I'll,
nap.
yeah. I mean, there's honestly, it's just, I think, a little footnote at the end of the video for us, I think, then, because I'm really happy, but there's honestly not much else to add that the video that Kyle Hill didn't mention. I'm just really happy because I've always been for nuclear energy. The issue being that a lot of people are scared of it. Chernobyl, the fucking Simpson have made the general consciousness, the idea in the public that I don't know, nuclear energy uses the green goo. It produces green goo that they then dump in ponds and turn the freaking frogs gay or something. I don't know, but they're very scared. A lot of people are scared of nuclear because they think it's something very radioactive. The reality of it is, it's just boiling water. That is what it is. It's incredibly safe. It's the safest energy production that there is at the moment. The amount of radiation in the pools they use at the very top is actually less than the atmospheric general radiation of the. So it's actually incredibly safe. And what the video says is the regulation that have been in place for more than 40 years are incredibly dated. Whoa, a
Ignore
naked
that.
man.
Ignore that. I'm
Naked
looking for the
man
Alex
and being
Jones meme to
Winchester.
post.
So it's actually incredibly safe, and the regulations are way too strict. And what he rightfully says is that these regulations, they are so strict that they make the public even more scared. It's honestly not that deep. And what I'm so happy and hopeful that this actually goes through, that they don't change a lot, is that hopefully this changes the popular view and general view of, there he is. There he is. So to make the public more aware of how safe it is, and if it then trickles down into Europe, oh my god, can we get nuclear energy in Europe, please?
Can we
I'm
please stop
begging.
buying our electricity from the French?
Oh god.
Jesus,
From
they
the
literally have.
frogs. From
Oh
the
my god, they
frogs.
literally, the gay frogs in question. No, they
Uh,
literally
I'll show those on stream actually because
No,
I
no,
was
no.
clicked off of Discord, so I intentionally didn't
Okay.
show things. So yeah, Alex Jones uses his full power to protect the last two straight frogs during Pride Month. But yeah, that was kind of she brought up the gay frog, so I was like, you know what, I gotta do it.
You have to,
But
yeah.
it broadly, so nuclear energy is just something that we've always needed to move towards. But there's been a lot of fear about nuclear by a lot of people, again, caused by propaganda, specifically by. And it's funny, we get anti-nuclear sentiment from people who are actually like climate alarmist, which is the weirdest
Yeah.
fucking thing because the propaganda you consume that is literally against nuclear is by oil companies.
Yeah, fucking retards. Oh my
And
god.
and it's
like
just
a boil.
you're
I
so
hate them.
dumb that you can't even. And I covered propaganda in my last video, funny enough. But stop falling for propaganda. Like, nuclear has killed less people for the entirety of the duration of the time that it's been alive than wind and solar has. And even then, wind and solar aren't even functionally that great. Like, the amount of actual offset that they have and how long it takes to offset the cost of building them, like the carbon offset for a wind turbine
Yeah.
is like 7 to 10 years that it has to be active in order to offset how much it took to make it and to put it up. And then solar is, I think, like 5 to 8. And a lot of people don't understand the materials needed to make turbines and to make the
Lithium.
gears inside of the turbines and to make solar panels. That shit has to be mined. It has to be mined, it has to be shipped, it has to be refined, and then it has to be turned into the things that it needs to be turned into, and then shipped to all of the different locations that it needs to be assembled, and then it has to be shipped to wherever it's going to be put together, and then shipped to wherever it's going to be put up.
And then the worst part is it's not recyclable. And once it's
Yeah, you can't
done,
recycle them.
you can recycle. It's pollution. Oh my god.
We just have to bury it somewhere.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's what they. I think that might have changed at some point. I think they might have kind of figured out something to do with it. But for the longest time, once like a wind turbine wasn't like operational anymore, like they just took the parts and buried them in the desert.
I mean, what the fuck are you gonna do with a whole wind turbine? It's
Buried in the desert, apparently.
Yeah, but that's the thing, is like, even if you consider nuclear too, nuclear functions in a very large scale way, and we've come very far with nuclear research. Like, legitimately, if you take anything away from this video other than the topics we've talked about, look up Kyle Hill and actually listen to him. Because he's not gonna, like, shit you, like, just shoot the shit and go, oh guys, actually you're all dumb. No, he goes
No,
to these
don't say
locations.
that.
Yeah, he goes to these locations. He shows you what the results are. He's been to Chernobyl. He's been to Fukushima. He's been to a lot of these locations, and he's like, look, guys, yes, things happen that are bad, sure, but
It was
broadly,
communism. It wasn't nuclear. The
Yeah.
ball was communism all along.
yeah, Chernobyl
that's
was
kind of-
literally
that's
just
kind of the thing,
communism.
yeah, people like a lot of the fear that people have of nuclear stems directly from Chernobyl. And I get that. I also like I started out extremely anti-nuclear because I grew up during the tail end of the Chernobyl was really bad for all of Europe, like massive areas, like several countries were at like really high risk of like being put in like the direct line of fire of this fallout. Like it was really bad, and people were extremely scared. Like I grew up with like my parents, like I remember my parents having to sign a thing of like if there's like a nuclear reactor melts down, there was like a whole procedure, and my parents had to sign that the school was allowed to give me like pills for it or something.
Iodine
And then there
pills.
was like an act. It was kind of like the European equivalent of active shooter drills is what we kind of had. And that scares the shit out of you when you're young.
It's understandable.
And the only time you hear about nuclear is when they're like, well, if a reactor melts down, we're all going to die. So good.
It's not true. It's just not true.
It isn't true, but yeah, it sticks with you. And like, but the thing that people don't understand, like, it's first of all, like Chernobyl was a long ass time ago, and nuclear technology has gotten a lot better since then. And also, like, it was way better than that at the time. It's just that commies are fucking cheap and useless and bad at everything they do. Like, Chernobyl wasn't a symptom of nuclear power so much as it was a symptom
of communism, yeah.
communism's failure to do anything right. But also, like, and this is you kind of said it, but I'll just like spell it out like a bit more clearly. If you're a person who nuclear kind of freaks you out, you should go through and watch all of Kyle Hill's video on anything relating to nuclear. Okay, maybe you should watch like the Demon Core shit and that stuff. That's like
Oh,
the
that's so fun.
that is bad things happening to people. Like it's
Like
like
seven
the
people, and it's fun.
yeah, it is usually like 7 people, but it's like it is like the nuclear equivalent of true crime content. That's kind of what it is.
Yeah,
But
that's Demon
like
Core.
his video like 3 Mile Island is a really good one because
Yeah,
that
it's
was
when everything went right.
counted as like
Everything went right for 3 Mile Island.
no, everything went wrong. That's the whole. That's the point of it. Like 3 Mile Island is touted as like the like nuclear reactor meltdown on U.S. soil, and it was so bad, and everything went wrong, and everything's terrible. Yeah, everything that could have gone wrong went wrong. Every failsafe that was in place failed. Everything was terrible, and
Well, no,
there
that's
is
no, hold on.
measurable like effect
No.
to come out of it.
No,
Like,
hold
there
on,
was
hold on. No, 3 Mile Island is
Uh.
actually a case of everything going right, including all of the failsafes. 3 Mile Island, specifically in the
the-
United States, that he covered when he covered the video, he explicitly talked about like how the offset between Chernobyl and 3 Mile Island, where all of the failsafes actually did everything that they were supposed to, and how all of the people involved actually followed safety protocol correctly, the way
Yeah,
that they were supposed to, and didn't cut any corners.
No, they didn't cut corners, but what kind of happened is that like something went wrong. I think it's been a while since I looked into it. It was like there was a problem that had like something to do with user or something went wrong, and then like an alarm went off that no one noticed because like a light bulb was like burned out and hadn't been checked, and then like so like there was a malfunction and no one picked it up at first because of like a faulty light bulb that had slipped through maintenance.
Yeah.
And all of these things were going wrong, and like all of the fast lines of defense failed in that sense. So really everything that could have gone wrong in that scenario did go wrong for this whole situation to occur in the first place. And still, what ended up happening? Yeah, the reactor melted down. What was the actual outcome? Oh, they vented some radiation into a river, and the downstream effect that it had is actually so like small. It's scientifically unmeasurable. Like there was actually no effect to come from this. No one was injured. There were no long-lasting effects. Nothing happened. It was just an absolute like non-event outside of the fact that it's superficially scared a lot of people.
Yeah. Again, it's
Yeah, there
there's
were
not
no,
much.
there was no breach. That was kind of what I was getting at. Is I had watched the video a little while back, but basically this is a general summary. Is feed water pump failure in the non-nuclear secondary cooling system triggered an automatic reactor shutdown, which again was that actually functioning correctly. A pilot-operated relief valve on the pressurizer got stuck open, causing a loss of coolant. Accidental. Operators did not realize it was stuck because the indicator falsely showed it was closed. Misled by high pressurized water readings. And the core became uncovered, overheated, and partially melted. But cooling was eventually restored. It was a partial meltdown, but not like a full actual meltdown. But the hydrogen burn occurred inside a containment building, which is what it's supposed to do. But the robust containment structure held with no breach that would have caused a major release. So the entire system fundamentally remained intact because it was properly regulated, and even though there were definitely failures, which caused the issue itself, on a broader scale, like 3 Mile Island is a case in which obviously regulations were the saving grace of how we built these things, and were a way to show, hey, yeah, this reactor like partial meltdown happened. Great, sure, bad. That's not good. I said great, but yeah, not bad. Or no, it could have been worse. Like there was no breach, which is extremely important because Chernobyl is like an example of like literally everything going wrong that could potentially go wrong, including
Mm,
the
yeah.
most incompetent people on Earth, went wrong. Three
Yeah,
Mile Island.
incredible set of circumstances. Irrepeatable, honestly.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like the way
So
that
many
we
things
build
went wrong.
reactors these days, like when I say everything that could have gone wrong went wrong and everything was still fine, they're built that way. It's on purpose. Reactors like nowadays are built so everything that can go wrong and they will still be fine. That's the whole point. That's
Yeah,
that's what
yeah.
the failsafes are for. Like they're made to be that resilient.
Yes, they're supposed to be. Whenever they're built correctly. And everybody's like, what if they're not? Well, they will be. Because guess what
Yeah,
happens?
they already are.
If they're not,
Too
then
much.
these companies that build them are literally going to be sued into oblivion, and people are probably going to prison. They are incentivized to not fuck it up. Like, that's what a lot of
Yeah,
people don't understand about energy companies, broadly speaking, and especially companies that were doing nuclear, which I don't. What?
Yeah, when
Hold on,
companies
hold on.
change,
With the
they're not
For the
always
Austrian in
ever
chat, what
healthy.
country was it that was bragging about them shutting down their last nuclear reactor? Was
Oh
that
my god,
Germany?
Germany.
It was
Was that
It was
Germany.
Germany?
German. It was
Okay.
German. It was
We
German
also did it,
Oh
but
my god.
Germany were like publicly bragging about it. The
Oh my
picture
god, I
that
hate
you're
them.
thinking of is from Germany, I think.
Of them flipping
I
the
hate them.
switch with
God,
the
I hate
big
them. Those
ceremony.
people.
Like I will as much as I like to rag on the Germans, we also did that same. We were also on that train. Austria also did it. It's not just them. It's the both of
Yeah.
us.
Italy.
It
It's
was the public.
disgraceful.
It was the public display of it that killed me.
Yeah,
They were
Italy did
so
it
proud.
way back. Italy did it
Uh,
way back, though. Thankfully, it's not like, oh my god, yes, we shut down something we already had. It was they made a referendum after the whole Chernobyl, like a few years after Chernobyl. So of course people voted no, for nuclear energy. The thing is, please let us vote again. Oh please, can we get nuclear energy,
just
please?
run it back.
Yeah.
And this is kind of why I'm hopeful with like the U.S. changes
Yeah.
because culturally is like European culture is downstream of America, so maybe we'll get it back.
For
Maybe we'll be
good and
allowed
bad.
electricity that isn't shit or from France.
Or constant blackouts like there are in Germany right now, or the brownouts or whatever the fuck they're called, where it's like, oh, by the
Wow.
way, how many people hold on, no, I'm gonna actually check how many people froze to death that fucking year, because like, um, that was something that was reported on the news, is the year that they shut down their nuclear reactor, they didn't have enough energy during the winter to
God.
actually keep
Yeah.
people from not freezing to death, and I was like, wow, if it isn't the consequences of your own fucking actions.
Yeah,
Which
that
why
was
don't
sad.
I just loop it back around to the every person should have a house with heating and cooling in it, and you know for a fact that the people that think that are also like no renewable energy only, no nuclear, dismantle all coal plants, like and oil plants right now.
Oh
Like
my god.
you understand this will kill people. It's just like this goes directly counter to this. Like you cannot marry these two positions together in actual reality.
Mm. Yeah, the Just Stop Oil people and their friends are like the people I hate the most because they literally stand against everything I stand for. They throw paint and other stuff at art, which technically gives me more job, more work because that's where I
I
come in
make
and
so much money because of these people. It's awesome.
but at the same time, like I would rather them not ruining something as historical permanently. Then another thing, they literally are against nuclear, which is so ironic. Then the worst part is they're annoying.
The
And
worst
they
part is they're annoying. This is kind of like the I don't even remember what like who said this or what it was about. It's like the worst thing entertainment can be is annoying. Or the
yeah,
worst thing a fictional character can be is annoying.
Yeah,
It's like a
yeah,
yeah.
fictional character can be like a genocidal maniac, like a
yeah.
mass murderer, a rapist, like
Oh yeah,
a
man, dude,
pedophile, the worst things you can
Jar
imagine.
Jar Binks, like
Everything, like all of those things, and they can still be like a compelling character. It's like, yeah, they might not be likable or like sympathetic or understandable, but they can be like engaging. But if you make them annoying, that's
No, no,
the
no.
now
Exactly.
now you have a problem on your hands from a writer.
Jar Jar Binks is the perfect example. Genocide, that's fine, but this dude sounds annoying. I
He's
personally like Jar Jar. I think he's endearing.
admittedly, I thought he was funny when the movie came out, but I was also like, I don't know, 12 or so at the
Yeah,
time. So, you know,
yeah, it's child humor, which is fine. Again, I think he's endearing personally, but I mean, yeah, he is annoying. Oh my god, and that's
Annoying
why I
as
love the game.
hell.
he had
Misa
striking.
thinks it's communism from
You know, hold on. Actually, it's actually kind of funny because I was thinking about listening to him talk, and I was like, Isa, like, imagine if he says Isa because that's how he talks, and I'm thinking, oh my God, he sounds black. It sounds like a racist depiction of a slave from back in the day. Isa, master, how we doing? It's like,
Oh my
oh
god, it does sound
no,
like
oh
a racist
no.
depiction. Oh my
So
god, Jar Jar
rough.
Binks
Okay,
actually
so
racist.
I'm actually now wondering if maybe the German voice acting on him is less grating, and that's why I don't remember him being that annoying.
Okay,
Possibly. I
so
don't
I
remember
will add
him.
this. Independent studies attribute roughly 170 to 1,100 excess premature deaths since the shutdown phase out of nuclear power in Germany. So that's kind of super important to the topic. I wanted to find that and actually bring it up because,
Alright, back on topic. Dead
yeah,
people.
rather than annoying characters. But I do want to close out the topic though, because like
Yeah.
realistically, nuclear is something that we should all strive for. Again, it doesn't matter whether you're a climate alarmist. It doesn't matter whether you're the I don't care about climate change people.
It
Nuclear
was one of the
energy is
first.
the most sustainable, clean form of energy, and it produces the most amount of energy for the cheapest cost. Realistically, you should want nuclear energy. But the problem is you're going to have to get past for a lot of you, you're going to have to get past the own amount of propaganda that you've been exposed to and understand, hey, sometimes things are not nearly as terrifying as you think they are, and you need to think for yourself. Stop looking at YouTube videos that are constantly telling you be afraid of literally everything because the reality of the world around you is not that it's terrifying, it's that it's complicated and it's nuanced. If a person is telling you nuclear is not viable and they cite Chernobyl at all, they are selling you something or they're lying to you.
Yeah.
Because the
Well, they're
reality,
stupid.
or they're stupid.
I
Because,
found the meme for the segment, by the way.
but we're gonna bring up
Yeah.
the
Let's see.
Senora Greta for a minute, or Senorita Greta, because
Yes.
Oh no.
Senora is married.
What's the meme?
Because yeah, uh, basically, I will say like broadly, um, if we
It's
were to
Steam.
shut
It's all
down
Steam.
oil
Steam.
immediately, the amount of deaths that would happen globally would be unparalleled. Communism has not killed enough people to stand up to how many people would die if we phased oil out.
Yeah.
And coal would be
100%.
the only alternative. And because when people talk about oil, they also talk about natural gas, and natural gas is actually cleaner than oil, burns cleaner than oil does, and then both of them burn significantly cleaner than coal does. But our infrastructure is so like married to electricity that people who need like epinephrine, like EpiPens, and people who have like medications that need to be refrigerated and other things
Insulin.
like insulin, every one of these individuals would literally be at the mercy of the state. And if you think that
Also,
that's a good
anyone
thing,
who's in hospital on like respirators.
yes, exactly. Like so many people would die, which means you would be looking at effectively a global massacre. It just nuclear is the best way forward, and the Trump administration, regardless of whether you like or hate Trump, it doesn't matter. This is a phenomenal, good step forward,
It's
and we should
yeah.
be excited about it. Where did we post this here meme that I'm supposed to look at?
I
Is it
posted in general.
Oh,
It's just a Gemini.
hold on. Post it in side chat if it's something I can show on stream, so I can actually like pull it up.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah.
There it is.
Okay. Wait, I made a new way to generate energy. New or Steam? Steam.
Steam. It's just always boiling water.
It's always
It's
fucking
always
Steam. It's always fucking Steam.
It all comes back around to Steam.
I'm
Ow.
sure the aliens from Alpha Centauri are just boiling water as well.
Yeah,
Probably.
it's always boiling water. But anyways,
Just
we've
boiling.
talked about a lot of the topics that we've effectively wanted to talk to. We will be
And
back.
many that we didn't.
Yeah, many that we didn't.
Mhm.
We will be. we we will be back next Saturday. I will be back on either Monday or Tuesday recording videos. Hopefully we will have everything situated for our both of our European peeps here. We have a ridiculously seductive Avi for L here, which we were just trying to get L into
Wow.
something, and it was like, yes, let me slip into something sexy. Yes.
Let me slip into something comfortable.
Into something. The something being the lingerie.
I mean, I could technically, if we open it, I could technically just, what the fuck? What? Okay, I didn't know that. I was just trying to zoom in and the mouse doesn't work anymore. I could technically, like, zoom in, or, no. I don't know how to do that. Oh, here, okay. What? No? Okay.
Like tits
There
on
we go.
main. Tits on main!
Tits on main, tits on main. Ah.
Yeah, meanwhile, I'm sitting here with the Foxy boy, which I still need to address.
feet.
The spinning. The spinning.
It's
um,
really fun.
But yeah, we're gonna do outros. This has been your Torador's Extended Warranty, doing the weekend stream with my friends here. And Elle, go ahead.
Oh, I have to do an outro. And in case I don't see ya, good morning, good evening, and good night, whatever. I'll try to find an original outro.
And now fuck off.
All right, everyone. That's been fun. Everybody have a good day.